Maya Rivers smiled as she stood in the center of the ballroom, the golden lights reflecting off the crystal chandeliers above. Laughter and music filled the room, mingling with the clinking of glasses as friends and family celebrated 10 years of her marriage to David. At 34, Maya had planned countless events for others, but tonight was hers, a perfect night she had imagined for months. Every detail, from the silk tablecloths to the fresh white roses, was flawless. She felt a swell of pride and happiness. David leaned close, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You look beautiful tonight," he whispered, his eyes full of love. Maya's heart fluttered. This was everything she had dreamed of: love, family, friends, and the life she had built. She lifted her glass, preparing to give a toast, her smile bright and confident. Across the room, her younger sister, Lena, lingered near the edge of the crowd. She raised her glass politely, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. There was something strange in the way she watched Maya, a tension that made her hands twist nervously. Maya noticed but brushed it off. Tonight was about celebration, not worry. "Here's to 10 years of love, laughter, and countless memories," Maya began, her voice warm. The guests echoed her sentiments, cheering and clinking glasses. She felt a surge of gratitude and joy. And then suddenly her world tilted. Her vision blurred. The glass in her hand slipped, shattering on the marble floor. A sharp gasp ran through the crowd. Maya felt her knees give way, and before she could even call out, she collapsed. David was at her side in an instant, panic etched across his face. "Maya!" he shouted, holding her trembling body as guests backed away in shock. Someone called for an ambulance, voices overlapping in chaos, but Maya could barely register anything. She felt cold, weak, and frightened. Lena stood frozen, staring at her sister on the floor. Her face was pale, her eyes wide. No one could read what she was thinking. The room spun with fear and confusion. The celebration, the laughter, the sparkling lights, everything had turned into a nightmare in an instant. As paramedics rushed in, Maya caught a fleeting look from Lena, and a chill ran through her. What had happened? Who could want to hurt her on the happiest night of her life? And why did her sister look like she had something to hide? The questions burned in her mind as darkness began to close in. When Maya and Lena were children, their lives were shaped by their mother, a woman who had little patience for mistakes. She adored Maya for her calm nature, her careful manners, and the way she always did the right thing. Maya was the golden girl, the one who could do no wrong. Lena, younger by 3 years, felt the weight of her mother's disappointment every time she stumbled. Small mistakes became mountains, and no achievement seemed to matter. Lena learned to hide her frustrations, burying them under polite smiles, while secretly wishing someone would notice her too. School was no different. Maya excelled, praised by teachers and classmates alike. Lena tried her best, but her efforts often fell short in comparison. Even when she did something well, it seemed to matter less because Maya's successes shone brighter. The shadow of her sister's accomplishments followed her everywhere, shaping how she saw herself: small, overlooked, and invisible. As they grew older, the sisters' paths diverged. Maya found her calling as an event planner, building a career with elegance and precision. She met David in her late 20s, a kind and attentive man who loved her deeply. Marriage followed, and Maya's life seemed complete: love, stability, and recognition for all her hard work. Lena's life was harder. Her relationships faltered, and her finances were always tight. She leaned on Maya for support, asking for advice and loans more than once. Maya, always generous and trusting, offered help without hesitation. She even suggested helping Lena start her own business, believing it would empower her sister. But Lena didn't see it that way. To her, every offer felt like a reminder of her dependence, a subtle message that she could never succeed on her own. Despite the tensions beneath the surface, the sisters appeared close. They laughed at family dinners and celebrated birthdays together, giving everyone the impression of a strong bond. No one suspected the quiet jealousy that Lena carried, the resentment that grew each time Maya's life seemed to move forward while hers lagged behind. What Maya did not know was that Lena and David shared a connection long before her wedding. They had been friends in college, sharing late-night conversations and dreams that Maya was never part of. It was emotional, not physical, but the closeness left an imprint. When David eventually started dating Maya, Lena buried her feelings, telling herself it didn't matter. But the memory lingered, a small but persistent ache that colored her emotions whenever she saw them together. Maya, blissfully unaware of these undercurrents, trusted love to fix everything. She believed that with kindness and generosity, she could solve any problem, heal any rift, and bridge any gap. She had never imagined that the love she nurtured could become a source of envy, that the family she cherished could hold hidden rivalries, or that her sister's quiet anger might one day turn into something dangerous. Lena, meanwhile, felt erased. Every success of Maya's reminded her of her own struggles and failures. She longed for recognition, for someone to see her worth, but the world seemed to give that to Maya instead. The resentment simmered beneath polite smiles and carefully measured words, waiting for the moment when it could no longer stay hidden. And so their lives moved forward, intertwined by family, loyalty, and love, yet divided by silent envy and secrets neither could fully understand. Maya thought she knew her sister, but Lena's feelings had been building for years, growing quietly like a storm behind a calm sky. What seemed like a perfect family was fragile, and the cracks were ready to show themselves when least expected. After the hospital confirmed that Maya had been poisoned, the world around her felt like it had stopped. David sat by her bedside, holding her hand tightly, his face pale and tense. The doctors said she was stable now, but the question everyone whispered, who would do this, hung heavy in the air. At first, suspicion fell on the catering staff. It seemed logical. Someone had to have tampered with the drinks, but when the police investigated, they found traces of the same substance in a small bottle in Lena's purse, labeled as an herbal supplement. Maya's heart sank. She shook her head, unable to believe what she was seeing. "My sister would never," she whispered, her voice breaking. But David didn't meet her eyes. He stayed silent, as if the truth was too heavy to speak. Detective Harper, a calm but sharp woman, asked quietly, "Mrs. Rivers, has your sister ever shown signs of resentment toward you?" The question cut deeper than any accusation. Maya tried to push it away, but images from the past began to surface, memories she had ignored or dismissed. She remembered Lena's snide jokes, comments that seemed harmless at the time but now felt sharp and pointed. The little digs about her choices, her career, and even David, subtle, passive-aggressive words that had slipped under her notice. And then there was the day Lena had deleted a congratulatory post Maya had shared about winning a major event planning award. Maya had brushed it off as nothing, thinking her sister must have been busy. Now, it seemed like a warning she had failed to understand. Maya felt a cold fear settle in her chest. Could Lena really have done this? Could the sister she had trusted her whole life want to hurt her? Questions swirled in her mind, twisting memories into doubts. Every smile, every hug, every shared secret now seemed to have a hidden edge. David remained quiet, his presence comforting and yet distant. Maya sensed he was hiding something, though she didn't yet know what. Her trust, once so solid, wavered. She felt a tension she had never known, a fear that the life she had built, her marriage, her family, her happiness, might have been built on lies. Maya started to replay the last months in her mind, searching for signs she had missed. She remembered Lena's complaints about being overlooked, the sharp tone when she spoke about her struggles, and the way she sometimes looked at David a little too long. It was all so subtle, so easy to ignore, but now it felt like a puzzle slowly coming together. The detective's words echoed in her mind. Resentment. Could it really be that simple? Could the poison be a way for Lena to finally show the anger she had hidden for years? Maya felt a sick weight in her stomach, a mix of fear, disbelief, and sadness. She wanted to run, to call out to her sister and demand answers, but she also feared what she might hear. For the first time, Maya started to question everything she thought she knew about Lena, the sister she had loved, the family she had trusted, the person she thought she understood. Maybe she had been wrong. And if Lena could do this, even if only to scare her, then the life Maya had taken for granted suddenly seemed fragile, uncertain, and dangerous. Maya couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the look on Lena's face the night she collapsed, the frozen, unreadable expression that haunted her. She knew she couldn't just wait for the police to uncover the truth. If someone she loved had betrayed her, she needed answers, and she needed them now. She started quietly, checking Lena's stories and alibis from the night of the party. Something didn't add up. Lena had claimed she had been home all evening, but security footage from a nearby store showed her car parked there for nearly an hour during the same time Maya collapsed. Maya's heart sank. She had never thought of her sister as capable of deception like this. Yet the evidence was hard to ignore. Then she looked at the bank records. Lena had recently received a large transfer from an unknown source, the kind of money that could explain sudden gifts, bills being paid, or even the herbal supplements she always carried. Maya's stomach twisted. Who would send her sister money? And why? She confronted David first. She needed to know if he had any part in this. "David, are you hiding something?" she demanded one night, her voice trembling with anger and fear. David hesitated, then sighed. "I need to tell you something. Years ago, I dated Lena. It was brief. Before we met, before I even thought about proposing to you. It meant nothing. I loved you, Maya, only you." Maya felt the ground shift beneath her. Her mind spun. How could she have not known? How could he have kept this from her? Questions collided in her head, twisting love into doubt. Her perfect world, the one she had built with so much care, felt suddenly fragile, unstable, and false. Then she faced Lena. She found her sister at a small cafe, arms crossed, ice cold. "Maya," Lena said softly, almost like a warning. "You took everything. Even the man who once loved me." The words hit Maya like a punch. She opened her mouth to argue, but the hurt in Lena's voice silenced her. For the first time, she saw the depth of resentment her sister had carried for years. It wasn't just envy over gifts or attention. It was more personal. Deep, personal. Maya tried to reason with Lena. "I didn't take anything from you," she said. "David and we love each other. You know that." Lena shook her head, her lips tight. "Love. That's what you think. He manipulated me, Maya. He made promises, whispered things only I would hear, made me believe I mattered before he chose you." The pieces started to fall together in Maya's mind. The late-night calls Lena had made, the tears she had tried to hide, the frustration she carried over every small thing. It wasn't just envy. There was history here, a tangled web of emotions, promises, and betrayal that Maya hadn't even known existed. And now, the poison seemed less like a mistake and more like a message, a way to make Maya feel the fear, the anger, and the betrayal Lena had lived with for years. Maya felt a storm inside her. Part of her wanted to run from both of them, from the lies, the secrets, the betrayal. But another part needed to understand, to face it head-on. Her life, her marriage, her family, they were built on half-truths, and she could no longer ignore it. As she pieced together the timeline, she realized something terrifying. The incident at the party wasn't random. Every word Lena had said, every quiet resentment she had buried, suddenly made sense in a chilling way. Lena hadn't wanted to kill her, but she had wanted to shake the world Maya had built, to expose the cracks in the perfect life everyone assumed existed. And David, his silence, his past with Lena, the way he avoided her eyes, all of it painted a picture Maya wasn't ready to fully see. She felt trapped between two people she loved, two people she thought she could trust, and the truth she was discovering was unraveling everything she had believed about love, loyalty, and family. Maya knew she couldn't step back now. She had to confront both of them, to find out what really happened and why. She also knew the confrontation would change everything. Nothing could go back to the way it was. The poison had done more than make her sick. It had opened a door to truths she wasn't sure she could handle, forcing her to face the betrayal at the very heart of her life. Every glance, every conversation, every memory now carried a weight Maya could no longer ignore. The life she had built on trust, love, and family had cracks, deep ones, and she had to decide how far she was willing to go to uncover the full truth. Maya stood in the small, tense living room, her hands trembling but her voice steady. David and Lena sat across from her, the air thick with unspoken accusations. She had called them both here, determined to get answers, to finally know the truth. "Enough lies," Maya said, her eyes flashing. "I need to know everything. No more hiding." David shifted uncomfortably in his chair, while Lena's gaze dropped to the floor. Silence stretched between them, broken only by Maya's sharp breaths. Finally, Lena looked up, her face pale and her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I did it," Lena whispered, her voice trembling. "I put something in your drink that night." Maya froze. Her heart raced. "You did what?" "I didn't mean to hurt you," Lena said quickly, rushing to explain. I only wanted you to feel sick. I wanted to ruin your perfect night, not to kill you. Her hands shook as she tried to reach out, but Maya stepped back. The shock hit Maya like a punch to the chest. Why? She asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. Why would you do that to me? Lena's voice cracked. Because you have everything, Maya. Everything I've ever wanted. I was jealous. I hated that you had love, success, David. I wanted you to feel some of the fear, the anger, the pain I've lived with for years. Maya's mind spun, struggling to process the betrayal. Her sister had poisoned her, even if only to scare her. The trust she had placed in Lena, the love she had believed in, it felt shattered. Then David spoke, his tone calm but cold. Maya, there's more you need to know. Maya's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? David took a deep breath. I knew Lena was jealous. I used it. I used both of you. All this time, I was planning to divorce you after the anniversary, take the business funds and disappear. I made promises to Lena, let her think she mattered, while I kept my plans hidden from you. The room went silent. Maya felt like the air had been sucked out. Her world, the life she had built, the love she had trusted, was collapsing around her. You planned this? She whispered, disbelief and rage mixing in her chest. Yes, David admitted, his eyes hard. I wanted the money. I wanted to control everything. Lena tried to stop me when she found out, but in her anger, she crossed a line. Maya looked at Lena. Her sister's face was pale, tears streaming freely now. I didn't want him to hurt you, Lena said, her voice breaking. I just wanted to stop him. But I failed. I made it worse. Maya felt a wave of emotions crash over her. Anger, sorrow, confusion, and heartbreak. The people she had loved and trusted most had deceived her in ways she could never have imagined. Her marriage, her family, everything she believed in. It had been built on manipulation and lies. I can't, Maya's voice faltered. I can't even look at either of you right now. Lena's lips quivered. I'm sorry, Maya. I never wanted to hurt you like this. David's expression hardened. I don't care about your forgiveness. You can't fix this. The room seemed to shrink, the walls closing in as the truth settled over them. Years of love, trust, and family loyalty had turned into a storm of betrayal and regret. Nothing would ever be the same. Maya sank into a chair, feeling the weight of everything crashing down. She wanted to scream, to cry, to make it all stop, but she couldn't. All she could do was sit there, staring at the two people who had once been her world, realizing that their choices had irreversibly changed her life. In that moment, she understood that some betrayals could never be undone. Some poisons, whether in a drink or in a heart, left marks that never fully healed. And yet, despite the pain, a small part of her knew she had to survive this, had to find a way forward, even if it meant letting go of the people she once loved most. The confrontation ended not with resolution, but with shattered lives, the truth finally out, and all three of them forced to live with the consequences. Months later, Maya had filed for divorce. The papers were signed, the house divided, and the life she had once imagined with David was over. The pain still lingered, but she felt a strange sense of relief. The weight of lies and betrayal was no longer hers alone to carry. Lena was serving her probation after pleading guilty for her role in the poisoning. Maya visited her in the small, gray prison visiting room, the air heavy with silence. When Lena looked up, her face was pale, eyes filled with guilt and shame. Maya sat down across from her sister, folding her hands in her lap. You're still my sister, she said quietly, her voice steady but soft. But I can't save you anymore. Lena's lips trembled. Maya, I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. I know, Maya replied, closing her eyes for a moment. But sorry isn't enough. You made choices and now you have to live with them. The conversation was brief but necessary. Maya didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't beg. She simply accepted the reality that some people, even those you love, could hurt you in ways you could not fix. Walking away was not easy, but it was the only way to protect herself and begin to heal. After the visit, Maya focused on herself. She started therapy, working through the anger, the grief, and the betrayal that had haunted her for months. Slowly, she began to understand her own needs and boundaries, learning that it was okay to put herself first, even when it meant letting go of family. She also threw herself into her work, taking on new projects and rediscovering the passion that had first drawn her to event planning. The creative energy reminded her of who she was, independent and strong, and helped rebuild the confidence that had been shaken by lies and deceit. But Maya wanted to do more than just rebuild her own life. She wanted to help others who had been hurt by family betrayal, emotional manipulation, or toxic relationships. She launched a foundation dedicated to supporting women in similar situations, offering counseling, resources, and a safe space to heal. The work gave her purpose and turned her pain into something meaningful. Maya's life began to take on a new rhythm, one built not on fear or trust in the wrong people, but on her own strength and choices. She learned to forgive, not for anyone else's sake, but for her own peace. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting what happened. It meant reclaiming her life, protecting her heart, and moving forward without bitterness. Even on days when memories of betrayal surfaced, Maya felt a quiet power within her. She no longer needed validation from David or Lena. She had reclaimed herself, her boundaries, and her future. Each step she took was hers alone, guided by her own resilience and the lessons she had learned. By letting go of what she could not control, Maya discovered freedom. The trust that had been broken could never fully return, but the strength she gained allowed her to live fully, to love wisely, and to create a life defined by peace, not by the mistakes or manipulations of others. In the months after the chaos, Maya realized that she had become more than a survivor. She had become a woman who chose peace, even when it meant letting go of the people she had once called family. She had built herself a life where love, trust, and joy were hers to decide, and no one could take that away. 1 year later, Maya stood in the grand ballroom, the soft glow of fairy lights reflecting off the polished floors. This was her first major event since the divorce, and she had poured her heart into every detail. The tables were perfectly arranged, the flowers fresh and fragrant, and the music filled the space with a gentle warmth. She picked up a glass of champagne, pausing to look around at her team. These were the people who had supported her, who had helped her rebuild not just her career but her confidence. A small, quiet smile touched her lips. She lifted the glass and took a slow sip, savoring the moment. Her thoughts drifted briefly to the past, to the betrayal, the lies, and the heartbreak she had endured. She felt the sting, but it no longer controlled her. She had survived, learned, and grown. Some poisons came in bottles, yes, but others came disguised as love, and she had faced both. Maya clinked her glass lightly against the glasses of her team, their smiles warm and encouraging. She felt strong, healed, and free in a way she hadn't known in years. Forgiveness, she realized, didn't mean forgetting the pain. It meant drinking her own glass, knowing what was inside, and choosing to move forward with her life. As the guests arrived and laughter filled the room, Maya took a deep breath. This was her moment, not defined by the past, not shadowed by betrayal, but by her own courage, her own choices, and her own strength. She was finally living for herself, fully and completely, and it felt like freedom. Hey friends, thanks for sticking around till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. See you next time.